Good afternoon, Maple, and welcome to your science lesson today. We've got a two-part lesson today, which is one of them is slightly different to what we would have been doing in school because I thought I would give you a slightly different activity. So today we're having a look at the workings of the human ear. Because obviously that is very linked to sound. And then tomorrow, you guys are going to have a bit of a chance to do some research and see how human ears are different to animal ears. But first of all, let's have a look and see and check your previous knowledge. Now, the reason that we do these questions at the start of a lesson is to try and make your learning sticky so that you remember it for a longer period of time. So something from our previous topic, if something combusts, what happens to it? What does the word combust mean? From a topic that you have done at some point in your Greenridge career, what is the role of a human skeleton? There's two roles for it. Can you name both of them? And from the previous lesson, what happens to volume as you get further away from the source of the sound? So have a go at answering those questions on Teams, and then come back to me and we will go through the answers. Okay, so if something combusts, it means that it sets on fire, it bursts into flames. The role of the human skeleton is support, so it holds you upright, and also protection, so your ribs protect your lungs and your heart and things like that. What happens to volume as you get further away from the source? The volume gets quieter because the vibrations get weaker the further away that you get. Some key vocabulary for today. This isn't the only key vocabulary for today, but because your task is going to be around using the key vocabulary for different parts of the ear, I haven't put them in here. So the object that sound comes from is the source. Vibrate and vibration is where something moves continually and rapidly to and fro, and volume is how loud or quiet a sound is. I don't actually think we need that word for today. My apologies, that's left over from last time. These are our working scientific skills. This time we are having a look at using scientific language to draw conclusions. So you'll be using that to talk about the human ear. So what do you think this image is? On Teams, there is a scaffold where you've got like 9 different bits. So there are 9 different stages to this picture. I want you to pause the screen on each one and tell me what you think the picture is. And then as we zoom in, what do you think it is from the next picture? And what clues are there from the picture? So there's your first one. Zoom out a bit, and there is some more. So on where it says picture 2, what do you think it is now and why? Even if you don't know, you might be able to rule out some things or get some ideas of what it might be. Picture 3. So pause the screen again. What do you think it will be now? What clues are there? Even if you think you know what it is and it's the same guess as last time, what new clues do you have that show that you think you're right? The next one. The next one. The next one. And then finally, the last one. So obviously you can see that it is a human ear, and in the final picture you've got an example of people hearing things basically. So what clues were there throughout that it was a human ear? Now, the human ear is made up of a couple of different parts, one of which is the outer ear, which is the bit that we can see, and one of which is the inner ear, which is the bit that is sort of lodged inside your heads. So what we're going to do today is that we're going to have a look at something that goes through what the different parts of the ear are, what their jobs are, and then your job is going to be 2 parts to it. The first one is you've got this exact diagram of an ear on a PowerPoint slide. Your job there is to drag the labels to the correct position on the slide so that they are all referring to the correct place. And secondly, can you write a glossary explaining what each part is or what it does? You can use the information from this video for that. So in the next couple of minutes, I will be going through what each part is, where it is, and what it does. So please do use the video to help you. So let's have an explore inside your ears. Here we go. So there is the same diagram of an ear that you have. And if I click on this one up here, which is the one you don't have, it tells you these are the ears. These are sensory organs, which means that they pick up senses that detect vibrations in the air or sound waves and give us our sense of hearing. So I'm going to start from the outside and I'm going to move in if I can get rid of this one, which I thought I would be able to, but no. Okay, so let's have a look over here to start with. So this bit over here, this is the bit you can see is called the pinna or the outer ear. It's made of cartilage, which is something that's similar to bone. Your nose is also made of cartilage. It's slightly different to bone. It's a bit weaker and it has a slightly different structure. And it's covered by skin. It funnels sound into the auditory canal. Now, audit, if you see anything with auditory or anything similar to that, then it means to do with hearing. So an auditorium is somewhere that you might go to see a concert, for example, because it's somewhere that is built for good acoustics so that you can hear the sound well. So let's move across into what hopefully lots of you will have predicted will be the auditory canal. So this is a short tube that transmits sound from the pinna to the eardrum. So your ear is like a funnel almost. It catches those airwaves and it sends them through that auditory canal to this part, which is your inner ear. Now, these different things will be able to tell us how sound gets sent to your brain so that you can work out what things are. So we'll keep going in a linear progression. So eardrum. This is a thin but tough layer of tissue at the end of the auditory canal. Sound waves make the eardrum vibrate. And the reason that this is called an eardrum is because if you actually look at the drums that we've got in school and things, they've got skin spread really tightly, which is why they vibrate. So it's very similar to what our eardrums are. Let's have a look at the next one, the ossicles. These three tiny bones that amplify and transmit the vibrations from the eardrum to the cochlea. And these are called the anvil, the hammer, and the stirrup. They're quite interesting to have a look at if you get the chance to do some further research. Please feel free to add them to your glossary and explain to me what their jobs are as individuals. But as a trio, they are called the ossicles. We'll move to this funky purple looking thing over here, which is called the cochlea. This is a fluid-filled organ, so it's full of water. Receptor cells change vibrations in the fluid into electrical impulses, and they need to be electrical impulses because that is how information travels around our body. So it can be sent to the brain so that the brain can work out what's going on, and then the brain can send that electrical impulse around your body. Let's go up here before we go down. So this is the auditory nerve. Remember, we talked about how anything with auditor is going to be related to sound. It contains sensory neurons, which are things that your brain needs to understand, that send information as electrical impulses to the brain for processing. So this is what sends the sound to your brain so that your brain can work out what it is you're listening to. And finally, the guy down here is Eustachian tube, which is not one of the tube stations in London. This is a tube that connects the middle ear to the nasal cavity. It regulates pressure within the ear. So your nose and your ears are joined together. Regulates pressure within the ear means that there's not like a build-up of pressure, so your ears you don't want your ears getting blocked and things like that. So there is the information that you need. Hopefully you will be able to watch this video back, go and open up the tasks, which are your glossary and your labeling activity. Please do make sure that you have a go at both of those activities. And hopefully that will give you a better understanding of how you hear things.